A very good afternoon. You're watching the Midday News on Rajya Sabha television, where we get you the biggest developing news stories at the top of one. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor, and here are the headlines. Prime Minister Modi and BJP Chief Amit Shah meet Chief Ministers of 15 BJP-ruled states. Discussions on preparations for Lok Sabha elections and upcoming assembly polls. Top brass takes stock of works in party-ruled states. MK Stalin elected unopposed as a DMK party president at its General Council meeting. Stalin's elevation amidst threats by elder brother Alagiri that the party would face consequences if he is not readmitted. Centre and 6 states sign agreement for construction of multi-purpose Lakhwar project in Upper Yamuna Basin in Uttarakhand. Over 3,900 crore rupees worth project aimed at irrigating over 33,000 hectares of land. Uttarakhand to get 300 megawatt power. Flying of drones are to be legal in India from 1st of December this year. Delivery of a payload including food items not allowed for now as government announces regulations. Civilian operations are restricted during daytime to the maximum of 400 feet altitude. And India bagged 3 silver medals today at the Asian Games, playing for gold. Women's and men's archery compound teams finish second. PV Sindhu loses to Tai Tzu Ying. Our top story this afternoon, the meeting of Chief Ministers of BJP-ruled states is underway in the national capital right now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and BJP Chief Amit Shah are meeting 15 Chief Ministers of the party as it gears up for the Lok Sabha elections slated next year. The party top brass is also taking stock of the works going on in the states ruled by the party. The meeting assumes also significance as assembly polls are due in 3 states ruled by the party, namely Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. The agenda of good governance and running pro-poor policies has been a key feature of the Chief Ministers' meetings, which have been taking place regularly since Prime Minister took over as in 2014. Now, BJP's Deputy Chief Ministers in different states are also attending the day-long meeting being held at the party headquarters. All right, we have with us our colleague Panchanan Mishra joining us from the national capital. Very good afternoon, Panchanan, with, of course, the tough polls really coming up in the state assemblies and, of course, ahead of the 2019 general elections. Today, PM Modi and Amit Shah are holding this day-long meeting with the BJP Chief Ministers. Any update on what are the issues that are being discussed at the moment?
A few minutes back, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also reached in this meeting, and the meeting started at this morning at around 10 a.m. It will be a day-long meeting. Will go up to. We have learned that will go up to 7 p.m. Inaugural address will be done by Party President Amit Shah, and 15 state BJP-ruled state CM is present in this meeting. This is a meeting which is very crucial ahead of the Lok Sabha elections and 4 state assembly elections, which is slated to the last of this year, and the Lok Sabha elections in the next year in April-May months. So it's an important meeting, and deliberation will be focused on this Lok Sabha and assembly elections. And apart from this, there are major discussions on the welfare schemes launched by the government, and the recently launched Ayushman Bharat will be a key factor in this meeting also. There will be different sessions on different issues and schemes. So government is focusing on that all the benefits which is reaching to the poor and the common man should get due publicity also. So this is a key area which is government now trying to focus on. But the main focus is on the upcoming Lok Sabha and Assembly elections. Aishwarya.
And Panchanan, as we saw that the Election Commission had yesterday held an all-party meeting where the issue of simultaneous polls in Lok Sabha and assemblies was discussed, and several parties had raised concerns over this. And of course, this is one idea that has been mooted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So any discussion likely on this issue as well?
Definitely, this issue will definitely crop up in this crucial meeting, because we have also learned that there will be a separate discussion with the three state chief ministers, that is Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, the three states which are going for the poll at the last of this year. So there will be different sessions with the chief ministers also, and the focus is on how the maximum seats can be gained, or the state can be retained with the party. So this will definitely will come in the discussions, and also the issue of simultaneous election, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself mentioned in his Mann Ki Baat recently in this Sunday, that their simultaneous election is a need of our, and the party almost had made it clear that there may be a possibility of clubbing 8 or 11 states together to go up to this Lok Sabha elections, and it can be merged with it. But we have to see that what decision party takes, and how the election commission may be convinced.
All right, Panchanan, thank you so much for all those updates. You keep tracking all those developments at the BJP headquarters. Of course, this meeting, as mentioned by Panchanan, began at 10 in the morning and it will go on till 7 p.m. We'll keep getting you all the updates on that big story. On to the other big story of the day. MK Stalin was unanimously declared as DMK president today after the meeting of the party's General Council in Chennai. And after being elected, MK Stalin paid tributes to CN Annadurai and M. Karunanidhi at the party headquarters. The DMK also passed a resolution urging the union government to confer Bharat Ratna to former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M. Karunanidhi. And later in the day, Stalin will visit M. Karunanidhi's memorial at Chennai's Marina Beach. Now, Stalin, who has been at the helm of DMK's affairs since the run up to the assembly elections in 2016, was appointed a working president of the party in 2017. Stalin had filed his nomination for the party president's post on Sunday. The seat fell vacant following the demise of his father and party president M. Karunanidhi, who held the position for 49 years. And the centre and 6 states signed an agreement for the construction of Lakhwar multipurpose project in the upper Yamuna basin in Uttarakhand today. The agreement was signed by Water Resources Minister Nitin Gadkari and Chief Ministers of Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Haryana, Delhi and Himachal Pradesh. And under the project, 204-metre high concrete dam with a live storage capacity of 330.66 million cubic meters across Yamuna near Lehari village in Dehradun district will be constructed. Now, this storage is aimed at providing irrigations to 33,780 hectares of land and availability of 78.8 MCM water for domestic, drinking and industrial use in the 6 basin states. The project, which is to be executed by the Uttarakhand Jal Vidyut Nagar Nigam Limited, is expected to generate 300 megawatt of power for the state of Uttarakhand.
यमुना का जो वाटर स्टोरेज है इस प्रोजेक्ट के कारण 65% बनने वाला है और इसका पहला फ़ायदा ये होगा कि उत्तराखंड की सरकार इस समय जब बिजली तैयार करेगी और वो पानी यमुना में आएगा और आया हुआ पानी जो है पीने के लिए विशेष रूप से इन राज्यों में उपलब्ध होगा.
And the government on Monday unveiled its first drone or the use of unmanned aircraft policy. And the commercial use of drones across sectors such as agriculture, health and disaster relief in accordance with the regulations will come into force from 1st of December this year. However, the delivery of payload, including food items, would not be allowed as of now. All civilian drone operations will be restricted only during daytime, and flying will be restricted within visual line of sight, which is usually 400 feet. And the regulation prevents the drones from flying around airports, near international border, near coastline, state secretariat complexes, vital and military installations, and Vijay Chowk in New Delhi. Now, except nano drones and those owned by the National Technical Research Organization and the Central Intelligence Agencies, the rest would be registered and issued unique identification number, and the users of a nano drone, which weighs less than 250 grams and flies up to 50 feet, are exempted from such a permission, including from the local police. But Micro drones are flying up to 200 feet and small drones flying over 450 feet and above will have to require police permission.
Important development to bring in new technology in India, and this market could be over a period of time over $1 trillion. Our idea is that because of its more and more intense use in India, will not only be able to manufacture it for Indian market, but over a period of time we will be even manufacturing it for global markets, and that's the scale at which India could immensely benefit from this activity.
So the first set of regulations that we are releasing today, we are formalizing today, is we think going to provide an opportunity for people to really get going with these drone technologies. They are, we think, the equal, if not better than anywhere else in the world in terms of an overall regulatory framework for drones. Obviously, right now it's all visual line of sight, but we will be allowing you to go up to 400 feet. And importantly, we are going to be using an all-digital platform to enable you to get the drone operator permit, to get your drone registered and to get your flight registered.
On to some other news now. The RBI's deadline on the resolution of a problem of NPAs or bad loans ended on Monday, and today the Supreme Court will hear the matter on granting interim relief to power companies against the strict deadline set by the RBI. Remember, the RBI had set a 6-month time frame for finalizing resolution plans for around 70 large stressed accounts worth over 3.8 lakh crore rupees. And on Monday, the Allahabad High Court had also refused to grant interim relief against the RBI circular. Here are the details.
Failing to reach a resolution plan, banks will now have no option but to drag defaulters to the National Company Law Tribunal to initiate bankruptcy proceedings. The banks had hoped their resolution plans for NPA accounts would help avoid going to the NCLT, which would result in large haircuts. A haircut is the difference between the loan amount and the actual value of the asset used as collateral.
There cannot be two issues that in case a person had diverted money and misused the money, then strict action should follow. So giving such deadline of 1-day default and the 6-month resolution probably is going to be a challenge. And I say today, the 70 odd companies which are facing this problem, having a somewhere, I believe, 3,80,000 crore rupees of the default on the loan is going to be a big challenge. Many of these companies are in the power sector. We all know that power sector is passing through a difficult phase. There are stressed assets. What are the projections, estimation, the profitability, the fund flow they have worked out are not happening because of the rates going down, cost being out of the proportion. So all those challenges are coming up.
The Allahabad High Court has refused to grant interim relief against the RBI circular. The Supreme Court will now hear the matter today on granting interim relief to power companies against the deadline. The RBI, in its 12 February circular, tightened norms for settling bad debt by setting timelines for resolving non-performing assets. The central bank also introduced the concept of a 1-day default, under which banks have to identify incipient stress even when repayments are overdue by a day. The circular came into effect on March 1st and the 180-day deadline concluded on Monday. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Health and Family Welfare Minister JP Nadda has said that the government will crack down on fake websites asking people to enroll for the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. The scheme will cover 5 lakh per family per year. 10.74 crore poor and vulnerable families are entitled to get the benefits under the socio-economic caste census.
Launching the logo of Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana on Monday, Health and Family Welfare Minister JP Nadda said that the government has a foolproof plan to avoid duplication of beneficiaries. Nadda said that there will be a QR code in each letter through which beneficiaries would be identified.
पिता का नाम, बेटे का नाम, बच्चे कितने हैं, सारी चीजें उसमें QR कोड में होगा. तो हम पूछेंगे, बताओ बेटे का कितने हैं तुम्हारे, क्या नाम है उनका. तो उससे हमको पता चलेगा कि लेटर होल्डर इज द रियल person, and the person who is there, he is himself the same person. ये दोनों चीजों की identification होनी है.
The services will include 1,350 procedures covering pre- and post-hospitalization, diagnostics and medicines. States are given flexibility to decide on mode of implementation. Benefits will be portable across the country and payments will be cashless and paperless to panel hospitals.
जब वल्नरेबल सेक्शन, मार्जिनल सेक्शन को 5 लाख रुपए की हेल्थ कवरेज की कैपेसिटी आएगी तो निश्चित रूप से हॉस्पिटल्स विल डेवलप. लेकिन जब तक डेवलप नहीं है तब तक दे विल बी रेफर्ड टू अदर इंस्टीट्यूशंस, अदर डिस्ट्रिक्ट हॉस्पिटल्स वेयर द फैसिलिटी इज देयर. इवन द इम्पैनल हॉस्पिटल्स कैन टेक केयर. हमको उसमें कोई आपत्ति नहीं है. हमारे तरफ से ये ज़रूर है कि अगर वो गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल में जाते हैं तो गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल को ये बेनिफिट होगा कि वो उसको जो हम पेमेंट करेंगे वो पैसा उसी हॉस्पिटल में रह जाएगा. दैट इज़ नॉट गोइंग टू कम बैक टू द ट्रेजरी. तो वो हॉस्पिटल्स भी अब मजबूत होंगे.
Prime Minister Modi had on August 15th announced rollout of world's largest health scheme from September 25th on the birth anniversary of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
In Midday News, time for a very short break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
On this edition of India's World, we will take a closer look at Sino-Indian ties.
Trust is missing in both sides, and Wuhan, Qingdao, Johannesburg could probably contribute for more trust building at the apex level, but also you'll have to build it up at the tactical levels as well.
The requirement is functional, basically to reduce the tensions whenever some flare-up takes place along the border, etc. But it is stuck on certain protocol issues of equivalence, etc., which is also very important when you deal with a country like China.
China is looking for various avenues to basically expand its economic footprint and expand. And if they have India on board on the BRI, then of course they will say we have succeeded in terms of what we are planning in terms of the BRI. But India will perhaps never agree.
Welcome back after the break. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that education has the power to transform rural India and has added that development must improve lives of people living there. The Vice President said this while addressing a gathering at the 103rd birth anniversary of His Holiness Jagat Guru Sri Siva Ratri Rajendra Mahaswami Ji in Mysuru today. He also inaugurated the new building of Gurukul there. The Vice President said that the ancient Gurukul system symbolizes the extraordinary relationship between Guru and student, and no other culture accords such importance to it as India does. Saying that learning under a Guru is like a sacred act of penance, the Vice President said that the ancient Gurukul system has to be reintroduced across the country, and the private sector and NGOs must come forward in a big way to set up such Gurukuls.
Share and care is the core of Indian philosophy. आदि काल से, वेद काल से, पुराण काल से हमारा पूर्वजों ने जिया और दिया, विरासत में हमको मिला. भारतीयता उसको कायम रखना चाहिए. Servicing the people is serving the God. Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. That motto has to be followed by one and all.
News from Kerala, where over 3.26 lakh people are still in relief camps across the state, even a fortnight of the devastating floods. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has ordered immediate relief of 10,000 rupees to be distributed soon to the flood affected. Though several people are returning to their homes, the Chief Minister said the relief camps have to be continued for a few more days. The work of burying carcasses of birds and animals killed in the floods is also nearing completion. The contribution towards the Chief Minister's Disaster Relief Fund has touched 700 crore rupees. Meanwhile, the Telecom Authority said that 98% connectivity has been restored in flood-hit areas. Meanwhile, Congress President Rahul Gandhi is in the state on a 2-day visit. He visited relief camps and also met fishermen and party volunteers involved in relief work. Rahul Gandhi is visiting Alappuzha, Chenganur and Ernakulam today, and he will be visiting some places in Wayanad and Kozhikode districts tomorrow. And on to some weather news from across the country. Fresh rain lashed several parts of Uttar Pradesh, even as the state continued to reel under the impact of torrential rain and floods in many districts. 12 people lost their lives and 8 others were injured in rain-related incidents. Met Department has forecast heavy rains in some parts of the state as well. Meanwhile, water levels of Ghagra River is rising continuously due to heavy rains in the region, and 44 villages were marooned in the waters of Ghagra in Azamgarh district, forcing hundreds of inhabitants to migrate to safer places. Meanwhile, heavy rains also hit several parts of the national capital today. Roads were jammed due to waterlogging caused by heavy rainfall. Waterlogging was also reported around Gurugram's Subhash Chowk, Delhi's Vijay Chowk and Delhi-Jaipur Expressway, among other areas. Heavy rains also disrupted normal life in Chhattisgarh. Rivers and rivulets are in spate and flood-like situation is prevailing in several districts. Gates of several dams has also been opened, leading to sudden rise in water level in Mahanadi and other rivers of the state. In state capital Raipur, almost all low-lying areas have been inundated, and administration has declared a holiday for all the schools today. And the Met Department has predicted heavy rains in the next 24 hours as well. On to some other news. On the second day of her visit to Vietnam, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj held delegation-level talks with her Vietnamese counterpart in Hanoi today. Both the leaders discussed measures to strengthen trade, investment, maritime and defence cooperation between the two nations. Sushma Swaraj also co-chaired the 16th meeting of the Joint Commission along with the Vietnamese Foreign Minister. And yesterday, Sushma Swaraj had addressed the Third Indian Ocean Conference, and India and Vietnam are connected by a shared vision of peace and prosperity, she said. Both the countries also agreed to further strengthen cooperation in the maritime domain, including on anti-piracy, security of sea lanes and also exchange of shipping information. On to some international news. The US and Mexico have signed an agreement to overhaul the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, putting pressure on Canada to agree to the new terms to remain part of the three-nation pact. US President Donald Trump, a frequent critic of the existing draft, announced the breakthrough on Monday. Donald Trump and outgoing Mexican President Enrique Nieto said that the talks with Canada would begin immediately, though Donald Trump also threatened that he could put tariffs on Canadian-made cars if a three-way deal could not be reached. Mexico also said that the deal would move forward with or without Canada. Negotiations between the three trade partners have dragged on for more than a year, and repeated threats by Donald Trump that he would ditch the 1994 accord have roiled financial market, putting pressure on both the Mexican peso and the Canadian dollar. Donald Trump demanded the renegotiation of the 1994 trade agreement, which he blames for a decline in US manufacturing jobs, especially in the auto industry. Canadian trade negotiator will hold discussions beginning today in Washington, and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau spoke to Donald Trump ahead of the talks and termed it as a constructive conversation.
This is something that's very special for our manufacturers and for our farmers from both countries, for all of the people that work for jobs. It's also great trade, and it makes it a much more fair bill, and we are very, very excited about it.
And the mass killings of Rohingyas in Myanmar's Rakhine state constitute genocide, and top military commanders should face prosecution for crimes against humanity, says a team of UN investigators. The independent UN investigation into alleged human rights abuses carried out against Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar has called for the country's military leaders to be prosecuted for genocide, crimes against humanity, and also war crimes. The report recommends that the case be referred to the International Criminal Court in The Hague, or for an ad hoc tribunal to be created to investigate the actions of alleged perpetrators. 6 military leaders have been named in this report. Further, UN investigators said that the Myanmar's civilian government contributed to the commission of atrocity crimes through the acts and omissions. It said that State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi did not use her de facto position as the head of government to stem or prevent the unfolding events in the Rakhine state.
The fact-finding mission has concluded on reasonable grounds that the patterns of gross human rights violations and serious violations of international humanitarian law that it has found amount to the gravest crimes under international law. These have principally been committed by the military, the Tatmadaw. The mission has concluded that criminal investigation and prosecution is warranted, focusing on the top Tatmadaw generals in relation to the three categories of crimes under international law: genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes.
And now let's get you all the action from the Asian Games. India bagged 4 medals on the 10th day of the 18th Asian Games today to take its medal tally to 45. India bagged the first medal of day 1 of the Asian Games in the women's team compound archery, and the team settled for silver against South Korea in the final. And the Indian team of Rajya Chauhan, Aman Saini and Abhishek Verma won the silver in the men's compound archery team, losing to South Korea in the final. In badminton, PV Sindhu won a silver medal after she lost to Tai Tzu Ying in the final of the women's singles event. Now, this is India's first ever silver in the women's badminton at the Asian Games. Sindhu is also bringing home a medal in the sport 36 years after Syed Modi won a bronze in the men's singles event in 1982. Also today, the Indian men's table tennis team won a bronze medal. Now let's take a look at the medals tally. India is right now placed 9th in the medals tally with 45 medals in total. That include 8 silver, 8 gold, 16 silver and 21 bronze medal. While China, with 193 medals, including 88 gold, tops the medals tally list, followed by Japan. That's it in this edition of Midday News. Thanks for watching.